satellites.
We go by.
Welcome to the June 18th City of Oldsmar Council meeting. It is 7 p.m. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Thank you for joining us. First item on our agenda is the invocation and our pledge allegiance to the flag, which will be led by our city attorney, Tom Trask. Please rise.
Our Heavenly Father, as the citizens of the city of Oldsmar meet together to address our local concerns and opportunities, we give thanks to you for the bounty that we enjoy in all aspects of our community life. We ask for inspiration to strive for excellence in our endeavors to serve the public. Grant us peace in our world and harmony between all people to your greater glory. This we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom. Very nice. First item on our agenda is the Oldsmar Open Forum. Each speaker will be recognized once and will be limited to a 5-minute presentation on any subject except for the public hearing items 8, 9, 10, and 11. I will call you at that time if you wish to speak. Please state your name and address for the record. The open forum will conclude at 7:30. Is there anybody on this side of the room who would like to speak? No? Anybody on this side? Come on up.
Sean Swager, 601 Spruce Street, Oldsmar. Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff. I am here to express my excitement for Thursday evening, which is, as you know, and the millions of viewers watching from home, the Candidates Forum for the Oldsmar City Council special election for Seat 2. So again, super excited for that, looking forward to it. I know there's going to be a great turnout, a bunch of great questions, so just wanted to say that I'm excited for it, and if there's any questions that don't get asked during that forum, I'm happy to meet with the residents afterwards. There's 2 ways to submit those questions, one of which is to the League of Women Voters in North Pinellas. The email is on the City of Oldsmar's website, and then also there's note cards that will be handed out to the residents before the meeting. So that starts at 7 p.m. I'll be here at 6:30. But I believe it's an hour. So again, just looking forward to it, and appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Anybody else on this side of the room would like to speak to the council? All right, then I will close the Oldsmar Open Forum. Next item on our agenda is the community minute. That will be read by our city clerk, Kristen Garcia.
Pledge to Evacuate. This new initiative is to encourage residents to take proactive steps by committing to a well-prepared evacuation plan that includes your residents, property, and family members. For more information, please visit our website at oldsmarstrong.com. Storm and hurricane volunteers. Volunteers are being sought for 4 opportunities, including be a social media ambassador, pledge to evacuate, learn to plan, assist with sandbags and or debris removal. And again, visit oldsmarstrong.com for more information. And again, just another reminder that our Citizens Academy class for 2024 registration is currently open, and that academy will run Thursday, September 5th through November 7th. And the application deadline is Friday, August 9th. So you can apply on our website. And holiday closures. The city facilities, offices, and the library will all be closed in observance of the Independence Day holiday on Thursday, July 4th. And that's it.
Thank you very much. The next item is approval of additional new agenda items 4 and 16. I need a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item is our consent docket, and that will also be read by our city clerk, Kristen Garcia.
Item 1, approve minutes of May 29th, 2024 council work session. Item 2, approve minutes of June 4th, 2024 council meeting. Item 3, approve reappointments of regular members Matt Clark and Frank Chicolo on the Board of Adjustment for 3-year terms through July 7th, 2027 and July 20th, 2027 respectively. Item 4, approve payment to legal counsel for May 2024 legal services. Item 5, approve the repair of trail bridges in the Moccasin Creek Recreation Area and the trail bridge at the intersection of State Road 580 and St. Petersburg Drive by New Vista Builders Group LLC per the pricing, terms, and conditions of Hillsborough County Contract 224641PB24-034. And item 6, authorize city manager to execute change order number 3 to the professional services agreement of 2018-012 RFQ for St. Petersburg Drive streetscape and drainage design with Kimley Horn to perform post-design services.
Thank you. Does anybody wish to pull anything from the consent docket? All right. Need a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item is presentation and proclamation for National Parks and Recreation Month, July 24, and I will be doing that. Come down here to present this to Mr. Potts. Just so you know, hockey is great. There we go. Parks and Recreation Month, July 2024. Whereas Parks and Recreation is an internal part of communities throughout this country, including the city of Oldsmar, and promotes health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near parks. And whereas Parks and Recreation promotes time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing contiguity, performance, and well-being, and alleviating illnesses such as depression, attention deficit disorders, and Alzheimer's. And whereas Parks and Recreation encourage physical activities by providing space for popular sports, hiking trails, swimming pools, and many other activities designed to promote active lifestyles. And whereas Parks and Recreation programming and educational activities such as out-of-school time programming, youth sports, and environmental education are critical to childhood and development. And whereas Parks and Recreation increases a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas Parks and Recreation is essential and adaptive infrastructure that makes our communities resilient in the face of natural disasters and climate change. And whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas the city of Oldsmar recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources. Now therefore I, Dan Saraki, Mayor of the city of Oldsmar, Florida, do hereby proclaim July 24 as Parks and Recreation Month in the city of Oldsmar, and recognize that Parks and Recreation is fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community. And Chip, I'm going to present this to you. There you go. All right.
Selfie stick.
All right. Good evening, Council. Chip Potts, Director of Parks and Recreation, and thank you for the proclamation this evening. What I'd like to do is give you a little history of Parks and Recreation Month, and as well as what some of the things we do here in the city of Oldsmar in the Parks and Recreation Department. I hit play.
Thinking.
It's thinking.
You just had it working.
Patient.
It was working.
Be patient with it. I mean, we know it's gonna say it starts in parks, right?
Hey, don't steal my thunder.
There you go.
There
Oh.
it is.
You guys have it?
We saw it for a second.
I saw it for a second.
There
Yeah.
it is.
Oh, those big,
Coming,
there
it's
you go.
Okay, all right.
Variations.
See, it eventually starts in parks.
Eventually.
All right. So, yes, a short presentation here about Parks and Recreation Month and who we are. So, the National Park and Recreation Association was the driver behind the effort to recognize the importance of parks and recreation in our communities and the people who provide those services. This was first celebrated in 1985 and was also recognized by the House of Representatives by resolution in 2009. It gives agencies across the country the opportunity to celebrate the month by recognizing the impact that parks and recreation has on our communities. So there are 4 pillars that support the value of parks and recreation, and we'll take a brief look at them and how we support them here in Oldsmar. The first one is community building, and this is done through our events. We have a lot of events throughout the year, not so much in the summer, but certainly in the spring, the fall, and the winter. And we estimate that we attract over 40,000 people annually to those events. And you've all visited them and seen the support that we get through our community and our visitors for those events. This brings people together, it builds relationships, it builds community, and it creates lifelong memories. These events are varied in aspect. We have our veterans events, we have our family events, such as Party in the Park, Movie in the Park, our holiday events like Halloween and Winter Wonderland and Extravaganza, and then our smaller events like Kite Day. These all bring our community together to make those bonds and connections. Health. Parks encourage healthy, active lifestyles as well as social development. We all know that obesity rates are on the rise amongst our youth, and we try to have a positive impact on the health of our community through amenities like the Oldsmar Trail, which has 10 miles of trail throughout the city. Our 8 playgrounds, which give children the opportunity to have unstructured play, build social dynamics. Our active spaces, like tennis courts, pickleball courts, our multi-purpose fields, and our new Fit Zone. We also offer classes for fitness that help our wellness initiative. We have classes like cardio drumming, Zumba, Pyo, and yoga. Not only is there a physical benefit, but there's also a mental benefit to parks and recreation. Parks have a positive effect on the mental health of people by providing a natural break from the everyday stressors, and it allows us to escape, even if just for a bit. Economic impact. Parks generate revenues in the local economy through events and tourism and positively impact housing and commercial real estate. Just take one event, for example, Gator Nationals. Okay, that event takes place over a 3-day weekend, and we have over 13,000 people in attendance over that 3-day period. This results in over 3,000 room nights, which has an effect on our local economy because people just don't stay in their hotel rooms. They want to go out, they want to eat, they want to play, they want to have fun when they're not participating in the event. So this impacts our restaurants, our shopping areas, and our entertainment venues. And it's estimated through the Florida Recreation Park Association Economic Impact Calculator that it has a $1.4 million impact on our community. So that's pretty significant. And I also mentioned a little bit ago about real estate. Positive impact on real estate. Location, location, location. Homes that are close to parks tend to be more desirable, resulting in a proximity effect, where the values tend to be about 3.3% higher than those that are not close to a park. Now, with 11 parks throughout the city, that translates into a good number of homes that are realizing that increased value. Environment. Parks are key to connecting with our natural treasures in order to preserve them. We have many opportunities to connect with the environment through our trails and our waterways. We have 11 parks, 217 acres of parkland, 2,300 acres of preservation land, and when you add all that up, that's 40% of land in Oldsmar is park or preservation land, green space. That's unheard of. almost anywhere, and that's one of the top in the state. I mean, you won't find other cities or municipalities that have that type of ratio there. We have access to water. We have 6 parks that are adjacent to water. We have canoe and kayak launches. We have 2 floating docks and 1 pier with water access. And we also have a trail, a kayak trail from Mobley Bayou Wilderness Preserve that leads you into the bay. So who are we, right? Who are the people that deliver these services? We have 4 divisions in Parks and Recreation, and they all work together as a team. And I have to say, as a director, I do appreciate the recognition that I receive from all of you at all of the meetings when you talk about our events. But, there are people that make this happen, and it's not me. Those are the people that lead the teams, and they truly deserve to be recognized as well. So in our Recreation Division, which is led by John Lindsay, we have 7 full-time staff and 5 part-time staff, and they're responsible for managing the activities at the Cypress Forest Recreation Center and the State Street Center. They're responsible for special events, programs, camps, BMX, and our rentals. Our Parks Division is led by our supervisor, Nate Rivera, who oversees 11 full-time staff and 1 part-time staff, with the responsibility of maintaining all city-owned grounds and parks, our medians, as well as providing event support. At the Oldsmar Sports Complex, that's led by supervisor Richard Cosgriff, who oversees 6 full-time and 1 part-time staff. They're responsible for the maintenance of 7 baseball and softball fields, 3 multi-purpose fields, the hockey rink, the BMX track, as well as the area over at Sheffield Park and Harbor Palms. They also handle median work, and they also provide event support as needed. And finally, our Facility Maintenance Division, which is led by our supervisor, Steve Capola, he oversees 6 full-time staff, and they have the responsibility of maintaining all city-owned facilities and park structures, as well as providing event support. So I want to say thank you for your time tonight, and we encourage you and all of our citizens to come out and celebrate with us this year. Visit a park, join a program, hit the beach, attend an event, and Councilmember Gannon, where does it start?
It starts in parks.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time tonight.
After
And I
administration
have any
funds
questions, I can answer those for you.
All right, do we have any questions? No. All right,
You
great job.
could say
Chip,
it's
thanks.
even award-winning, huh, Chip?
Soon.
Well, past already.
Past and future. Thank you.
Appreciate it very much. All right, next item on our agenda is the city attorney, Tom Trask.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 8 is the public hearing for the second reading of ordinance 2024-05. I'll read that ordinance by title only. Ordinance 2024-05, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending Article 6 Flood Control, Stormwater Management, and Wetlands Protection of Part 3 of the Land Development Code of the City of Oldsmar to rename the regulations from Floodplain Management Article to Floodplain Management Ordinance in Section 6.1. To change the reference from ordinance in article in section 6.6.3, to remove the 25-foot setback for location of new buildings landward of the reach of the mean high tide in coastal high hazard areas and coastal A zones in section 6.9.1 paren 4. To include acronym FBC for Florida Building Code, number sub-definitions for the letter of map change, reduce the allowable percentage of market value for substantial damage / substantial improvement to 49%, and reduce the allowable percent of market value from 50% to 49%, and reduce the cumulative years from 15 to 5 for substantial improvements in section 6.14. To redirect the definitions for substantial damage and substantial improvement in section 6.16.4 and 16.16.5 as it relates to the technical amendments of the Florida Building Code, buildings and existing buildings to section 6.14.1. To amend section R322 for clarity regarding enclosure limitations / standards and construction standards in coastal A zones as it relates to the technical amendment of the Florida Building Code residential. Providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date of this ordinance. That was the second and final reading of ordinance 2024-05 by title only. It was first read on June 4th, 2024, and there have been no changes to the ordinance.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. I'm going to open the public hearing. Is there anyone that'd like to speak for or against this item? Come on up. Oh, you're good? Oh, okay. All right. Then I'll close the public hearing. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Grimes,
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon,
Yes.
Mayor Siraki.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-05 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Item number 9 on the agenda is the public hearing and second reading for ordinance 2024-06. I'll read that by title only. Ordinance 2024-06, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending Section 1-15, General Penalty, Continuing Violations, Nuisance Conditions, of Chapter 1 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oldsmar to delete the penalty of imprisonment for code violations, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date of this ordinance. This is the second final reading of ordinance 2024-06 by title only. It was first read also on June 4th, 2024, and there have been no changes.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. I will open the public hearing. Is there anyone that would wish to speak on this item? Against, for, against? No one? All right, I will close the public hearing. I need a motion to approve.
So moved. Oh, second.
All right, a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I mean, we can't imprison anybody anymore. I'm just saying.
It's still funny.
I
I
know.
saw you guys laughing last
I know,
week.
well, we weren't laughing.
Yeah, they were. They were
No
laughing.
need to go to prison.
All right, thank you. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Grimes,
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon.
Yes.
Mayor Siraki.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-06 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Okay, item number 10, ordinance 2024-08. I'll read that by title only. Ordinance 2024-08, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending Section 70-478 of Chapter 70, Utilities of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oldsmar to increase the water service impact fee and sewer service impact fee, utilizing a 4-year phasing plan, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing for codification. That was a reading of ordinance 2024-08 by title only.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. I will open the public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak for this or against this item? With that, I will close the public hearing. Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item?
No.
Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Grimes.
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon,
Yes.
Mayor Siraki.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-08 is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you. Item number 11 on your agenda is a public hearing and first reading of ordinance 2024-09. I'm going to read that ordinance by title only. I would have you note that there has been a small typographical change in the ordinance that was in the packet. And section 2 of the ordinance, before I read it, specifically section 70-454, it had said sampling Monday through Wednesday at $300 per occurrence. That was a typographical error. It should be sampling Monday through Wednesday at $200 per occurrence. So ordinance 2024-09, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending Chapter 70 Utilities of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oldsmar to create a provision to establish fees for water sampling of private water systems, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for an effective date of this ordinance. That was the first reading of ordinance 2024-09 by title only.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak on this item? I will close the public hearing. I need a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item? All right, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Grimes,
Yes.
Councilmember Knapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon,
Yes.
Mayor Siraki.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-09 passes on a first reading with 5 votes for and 0 against.
The last thing on your agenda is annual review of the council rules of procedure. We're asking that this be postponed to the meeting on June 25th because the rules provide that the review of the rules of procedure will be done at a work session. Since this is not at a work session, we wanted to be in compliance with that provision of the rules. So we're asking that you postpone it to the work session on June 25th.
Make a motion to postpone item 12 to the work session scheduled for
June
June
25th.
25th.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item is our city manager, Felicia Donnelly.
Thank you, Mayor. Adopt Resolution 2024-19, revising the budget for fiscal year 23-24. Resolution 2024-19, a revision of the annual budget for fiscal year 23-24. The general fund, the water and sewer operating fund, and the stormwater utility fund require adjustment at this time. In the general fund, the city clerk is requesting an additional $2,000 to cover the cost of the August special election. Fire rescue requires an additional $230,000 in appropriations for the fiscal year 24 contribution rate increase for the Oldsmar firefighters pension plan, the result of a recent actuarial valuation. Also for fire rescue, an upgrade to the existing fire prevention inspector position has been requested to change from a position to a fire lieutenant, fire marshal effective August 4th. Additional funding will not be needed for this position upgrade. However, this amendment is included because it represents a departure from the fiscal year 24 adopted budget. The Recreation Division has requested an additional $38,000 to cover instructor payments through the end of fiscal year 24, the result of increased program participation. Fleet maintenance will need an additional $5,000 for fuel tank repairs at the city's fleet fueling station. Furthermore, a total of $5,800 is required to cover increased cost of flood insurance, $2,600 for the library, and $3,200 for recreation. The general fund contingency reserve will be used to fund these adjustments. Also in the general fund, the Parks Division has requested $20,000 to purchase additional equipment in Mobley Bayou Wilderness Preserve Fit Zone. This project is funded by a $20,000 donation received from the Kiwanis Club Top of the Bay and presented to the City Council in April. In the Water Sewer Operating Fund, the Utility Maintenance Division is requesting an additional $10,000 for standby pay to provide consistent emergency staff response during nights and weekends. The Water Sewer Operating Fund contingency reserve will be used to fund this adjustment. Finally, $3,349,950 of proceeds from the American Rescue Plan Act, known as ARPA, that were previously earmarked for the Douglas Road project will be transferred from the Stormwater Utility Fund to the Water and Sewer Operating Fund and used to accelerate planned water meter upgrades and the purchase of a vacuum excavator truck and distribution and collection division, both are which expected to meet ARPA spending deadlines. Staff recommends approval. I'm going to read the resolution in its entirety. Resolution 2024-19, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, revising the budget for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2023, and ending September 30th, 2024, authorizing the City Manager and the Director of Administrative Services to revise the existing budget. Whereas the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida has approved a municipal budget for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2023 and ending September 30th, 2024. Whereas the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida is desirous of amending the budget by revising various revenues and expenditures. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida that the following revenues and expenditures be revised in the following manner based on the review of the budget. Section 1, the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida has hereby revised the existing budget for fiscal year 23-24 in accordance with Schedule A as attached. Section 2, this resolution will take effect immediately upon passage.
Thank you.
This was a reading of Resolution 2024-19.
Thank you very much. I need a motion for approval.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any other discussion on the budget? Okay. Oh, yes.
Just one thing, I heard a comment recently that we have, budget revisions, and that means that we didn't budget appropriately the first time. And I take issue with that a little bit. It's a philosophy kind of thing, right? So in my opinion, a revision to the budget is not indicative of a problem. It means we don't pad the budget with additional money so that we don't have to revise it. We budget our departments lean and mean, even though they don't like it sometimes, so that we make sure that we have the money when we need it to use it for appropriate things. And so I don't think budget, in my opinion, budget revisions are not a bad thing at all. Unfortunately, as people have noticed, costs are going up in certain areas, and we are obligated by statute to fund the firefighters' pension. Shout out Schwabi. Thank you, Chip, for increasing participation in all of the recreation programs. So now we need $38,000 to fund instructor fees, but that's a good thing. We want people to participate, right? That is a good thing. And, you know, ARPA funds, we use it or we lose it, right? It's like your FSA card at the end of the year. We got to spend the money, and we are happy to spend the money on much needed infrastructure. So I just kind of wanted to dispel that myth, because sometimes I think the public doesn't necessarily understand why we're moving around money, and that's why. Correct me if I've misstated anything.
No, that's absolutely
Tom.
correct.
Any other comments? No, I agree. I totally agree with you, Katie. Things change over the,
Oh, yeah.
course of time.
All the
The city budget changes, things change, and they have to be fixed. All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item.
Item number 14, approve the special event application fee waiver request and use of the city logo for Oldsmar Cares Oldsmar Rod Run event to be held on November 9th, 2024. On Saturday, November 9th, Oldsmar Cares will host the Oldsmar Rod Run car show at Arields Park. This event will include classic, exotic, and performance automobiles, as well as musical entertainment and food vendors, and is anticipated to bring close to 200 participants and spectators to Oldsmar. By hosting fundraising events such as this, the organization is able to provide many support programs to those in need throughout our community. The item requests a waiver of fees in the amount of $500. Consistent with the City of Oldsmar's special event guide, Oldsmar Cares requests that the city waive the fees associated with the event. All external costs, including utility fees of $40, will be the event organizer's responsibility. Oldsmar Cares will recognize the city as a sponsor at the appropriate level and may use the city logo to recognize such sponsorship. Copy of the application is attached for your review. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. I need a motion for approval.
So moved?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion on the car show? All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 15.
Item number 15 is authorize the city attorney to draft an ordinance to amend the town center development code to allow educational facilities as a conditional use in the town center commercial residential district, TCCR. Tatiana Childress, the planning and redevelopment director, is here to give a presentation.
Hello, Tatiana Childress, City of Oldsmar Planning and Redevelopment Director. So I have a very brief presentation. This is CA 2402, text amendment to allow educational facilities within the Town Center Commercial Residential District. The Town Center Commercial Residential District is located along the Tampa Road corridor and is indicated here in blue. It runs along State Street and is approximately 40 acres in size. The TCCR district serves as a mixed-use area that combines commercial and residential uses within the intent to create a vibrant, diverse community environment. After the pandemic, we had a lot of offices that vacated this district. And at the same time, we had multiple inquiries from different businesses asking if educational facilities are permitted within this area. So we received a recent text amendment from Operation Jack's Village to allow educational facilities as a conditional use. I will read the request into the record. So this is a request to amend the Town Center Development Code of the City of Oldsmar, amending Section 2.1 of the Land Development Code to include the definitions of educational facilities, Section 3.2.1 to remove primary or secondary schools from the list of prohibited uses within the Oldsmar Town Center, in Section 3.7.3 to allow for educational facilities in the Town Center Commercial Residential District as a conditional use. The applicant also provided the definition for educational facilities, and I will read the definition as well. So it's a building or campus designed and utilized for the purpose of formal education, encompassing a range of institutions from primary schools to universities, as well as specialized facilities catering to various educational needs such as early childhood education, vocational training, and continuing education. We compare this to the section 3.13.2, and the text amendment request was reviewed against the three conditions outlined in section 3.13.2. The first condition is the amendment complies with the comprehensive plan and advances the purpose of the land development code. Although our town center code prohibits currently educational facilities within our town center or the CRA area as we know it, on the comprehensive plan, within this corresponding category, land use category of the CRD Community Redevelopment District category, we already permit public, semi-public uses under which the educational facilities will fall under, so we're in compliance with the comprehensive plan. The amendment will also advance the purpose of the land development code since the approval process will require a conditional use, allowing for additional those specific requirements to mitigate potential negative impacts. And each conditional use will be presented back to the City Council for approval with conditions. The second condition is the amendment will contribute to promote the community's welfare. So this amendment has the potential to enhance access to education, revitalizing vacant spaces, and promote community engagement, stimulate economic growth, and improve the quality of life, attract families and professionals, and support sustainable development by creating a more vibrant, resilient, and thriving community. And the amendment will not grant a special privilege to an individual property owner, as I already mentioned, so this will be available to anybody, to any business within the TCCR area by a conditional use application, and that conditional use application will be reviewed in accordance with section 3.7.3 of the Land Development Code. So based on the above discussion and review of the application, staff recommends approval to allow educational facilities within the town center. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tatiana. Do we have any questions for her?
Thank you, Tatiana.
Thanks, Tatiana.
Thank you.
I believe there are some residents that would like to speak on this. I'm going to open this up so that you can speak. Is that okay, Tom?
Yes?
Absolutely.
Is there anybody that would like to come on up? I'm going to have them go first, and then we'll speak. Sure.
Amber Stevens, 318 Lafayette Boulevard. In the vibrant heart of Oldsmar, easily accessible from our neighborhoods, stands a remarkable space, a beacon of hope, learning, and community empowerment. More than just a structure, it is a transformative space where dreams can be nurtured and resilience can be cultivated. Operation Jack's Village is on a mission to broaden its influence and services for families of adolescents seeking partnerships within the Upper Tampa Bay area, specifically here in Oldsmar. Over the past 4 years and over 10,000 hours of research, OJV has pinpointed an ideal educational model and potential buildings to fulfill its SOAR initiative, the third OJV impact unit. A few takeaways from this endeavor are, first, the Thrive Assessment, which addresses the holistic needs of students. It determines the best education environment for each individual. This approach is designed to empower both students and parents in making informed decisions about their education journey. Second, our location promises economic growth. It proposes a pipeline for apprenticeships and internships with Oldsmar businesses by providing practical, hands-on experience for adolescents and young adults. Not only does it give students early work experience, but also strengthens local industries by creating future skilled and ready workers. Studies show there is a global 9% increase in hourly earnings for every extra year students have access to diverse economic discovery. This can impact the economic stability of young individuals. OJV can help mitigate disparities in student debt and provide equal access to education and employment opportunities, which is a big concern for this generation. Potentially, it could lessen the strain on the Pinellas County transportation systems. Oldsmar students have a very far commute to Carwise Middle School and Eastlake High School. Most significantly, this initiative strives to deepen adolescent ties to Oldsmar through local education projects that emphasize civic engagement that can foster a sense of community engagement. This, in turn, can translate into economic benefits as students invest their time and skills back into this community, thereby reducing travel-related stress, decrease homework hours, and strengthening family and social bonds. Additionally, our local connection shows Oldsmar community is the perfect backdrop for this educational venture. Feasibility studies and community feedback revealed a strong demand from both parents and students. Acquiring a building will allow us to strengthen our mission, helping Oldsmar's adolescents and their families not just to survive, but thrive and soar. Furthermore, working alongside so many amazing organizations like Oldsmar Cares, Oldsmar Community Garden, and Oldsmar VFW strengthen our community. To sum up, our choice in education options drive long-term economic growth, spurs innovation, strengthens economic and network opportunities, as well as fosters social cohesion, all of which are beneficial for the youth as they transition to the labor market. These opportunities aim to create an effect where educational advancements and mental health support the lead to economic growth, thereby enhancing the overall well-being of Oldsmar community. By focusing on this holistic development of adolescents and providing them with the tools and opportunities to succeed, initiatives like OJV can have a profound impact for our youth employment, leading to a more prosperous and stable future for our community so we can all survive, thrive, and soar. So at this point, if council has any questions for Miss Liz Martin, she is in the house and she is ecstatic to answer for them. So.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
I'd love to hear from Liz.
All
I
right,
would too. There you go, ma'am. Or you can use that.
Make sure that thing's on.
Is it on?
Give it a pop on. There we go.
Liz Martin, 3119 Phoenix Avenue.
Sorry about the.
I never leave. What questions do you all have?
My question is, what brought about this decision to go through the process of working to change the code of the city of Oldsmar?
Well, because we need to look at full access. There's lots of areas around Oldsmar, but we're looking specifically around walkable distances, not getting in buses involved, where kids are used to being able to walk to school. So we're looking actually at multiple locations, but we're looking specifically in this area and then that we're talking about, and then also within walking distance of Forest Lakes Elementary.
Gotcha. Not many people would undertake to go through this process with Tatiana and to bring it all the way to council.
Well, Tatiana's been extremely helpful and amazing, very good at educating my knucklehead up here. She's been really, really helpful. Thank you. And I have a different why. I have a very different why, and I absolutely will follow this through.
As usual, I cannot wait to see what is to come.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun, y'all.
anybody else?
Any other questions?
No questions for me?
Well, thank you for your intuitive and your energy for getting this accomplished.
This is not energy. This is drive.
Determination, yeah.
That too. All right, any other comments from anybody in the council? Do I need a motion to approve?
Moved.
I have a motion and a second, any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item is City Clerk Kristen Garcia.
Item 16 is authorize city attorney to draft a resolution appointing the local canvassing board for the August 20th, 2024 special election. Section 6.6 of the city charter provides for the city council to appoint themselves or qualified electors as needed to serve on the canvassing board for municipal elections. The canvassing board will convene on August 27th, 2024 at 6 p.m. to adopt a resolution declaring the results of the special election for council member seat 2.
Thank you. I need a motion for approval.
So moved.
Sorry.
Came in a little
Motion, how about a second?
Second.
Second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 17.
Item 17, authorize city attorney to draft a resolution appointing the local, Item 17, consideration of a uniform board member attendance policy. So on May 21st here at council, it was discussed bringing forth a consistent meeting attendance policy for the boards. So I'll go ahead and read out what the boards currently have. So right now we have Board of Adjustment monthly. They meet monthly, and their current policy is any member missing 3 consecutive regular meetings without justification acceptable to the city council shall be considered resigned. Code Enforcement Board meets monthly. They're scheduled to meet monthly. Any member who fails to attend 2 out of 3 successive meetings without cause and without prior approval of the chairman shall automatically forfeit that appointment. This absentee provision is required not only by our code, but Florida statutes, and should not be changed. Planning Board also is scheduled to meet monthly. Any member missing 3 consecutive regular meetings without justification acceptable to the City Council shall be considered resigned. Firefighter Pension Board of Trustees, it meets quarterly. Should a trustee have 2 or more unexcused absences during any one planned fiscal year, such trustee will be deemed to have effectively resigned his or her seat on the Board of Trustees. So that is only up to the Board of Trustees, so that provision cannot be amended by the council. Parks and Recreation Advisory Board meets quarterly. Any member who fails to attend 2 meetings during a 12-month period shall forfeit their board position unless excused by the board. A board member who is late for 3 meetings during a 12-month period shall forfeit their board position unless excused by the board. Late arrival is defined as arriving after the first vote of a meeting. And that policy for the 2 unexcused was just adopted by council in, I believe, May, just recently. Veterans Advisory Board meets quarterly. Any member with 2 consecutive unexcused absences shall be automatically removed. So in order to develop uniformity and consistency with regard to attendance on our boards, staff proposes establishing the following attendance policy and excusal process for our boards. Any member of a board other than the Firefighter Pension Board of Trustees and the Code Enforcement Board who fails to attend 2 meetings during a calendar year shall forfeit their position unless excused by the board. Any absence will be placed on the next meeting agenda for board consideration. And so that would be done automatically. In order to enact the above change, staff recommends that the city attorney be authorized to draft the following resolutions and ordinances: an ordinance for the Board of Adjustment, an ordinance for the Planning Board, a resolution for the Veterans Advisory Board, and a resolution for the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board to remove the late arrival clause, to have consistency among boards, and to revise the 12-month period to a calendar year. And we have provided this agenda item to the boards by email, so they are aware.
All right, thank you. So the recommended motion is authorize the city attorney to draft the appropriate resolutions and ordinances to revise the attendance policy for the boards. I would need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Does anybody have any other discussion for Tom on this?
Just to say that to Kristen, not to Tom, of course, thank you for all of your work on this, but Kristen, being able to put this so concisely, I know it seems like a lot of words, but you can do this, you can do this, you can't, you can't, you can, you can. This is what we recommend, and I thought it was very clear, it was very succinct, and I just want to say thank you so much for your work on this. That's all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
Yeah, great job just harmonizing things.
Ooh, harmonizing, good word.
Ooh, got us the floors down tonight.
Councilmember Gann, did you have a comment?
Thank you. I just had one question. So just one thing to point out, I am in favor of harmonizing, as Councilmember Knapp pointed out. Harmonizing and mesmerizing. I did want to point out, though, that this does change for the Board of Adjustment and the Planning Board, the process of determining whether something is justified or excused or whatever magical word that you want to use. It changes it from the city council to the board. So we are ceding power to the boards to police themselves. So my question would be, and I know we love to do resolutions, right, Tom? So in the theoretical scenario that a rogue board decided to start approving everybody's absences and it got out of hand, what would we do as a council?
You could disband the board.
That would be unfortunate. Go
Yeah.
on.
And we have done that in the past. We had an art committee that we disbanded, and the leisure services that we disbanded one of their committees or boards a number of years ago. So you have the ability to do that. You can adopt a resolution that overthrows or any decision that they've made if you wanted to do that.
But no imprisonment, we've
No
established that.
imprisonment.
You'd want to keep it
so-
harmonious, right?
Right.
Yeah. You have complete control over the board. You appoint them, you can make changes to them.
You can give it the power and take it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure because, I think it's a great idea to have the board essentially police itself and for consistency, of course. Thank you for examining the attendance policies, the absence policies, all of this is long overdue. Thank you, Kristen. But I did just want to make sure that the boards know that this isn't like some kind of, seize of power such that they can just do whatever.
No, they can't. They still have to,
Still have to attend.
and they still have to follow their enabling resolution as to what they can do and what they can't do.
Yes.
And so sometimes I have to meet with certain boards to rein them back in. They're going astray, and so we meet with them and tell them what their duties and responsibilities are.
It's great.
And we had to do that in the last year or so with one board. But so that's how we do it. We keep track of it.
Good, good. I love that continuing education is happening, so we don't get too far. That was my only
I
question.
just have one comment. Thank you very much, Kristen, for all your hard work in getting it done and working with city staff. Thank you so much. I think it's wonderful. And I personally don't think any chairman is going to allow that to happen, but that's just my personal opinion.
Right.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item, thank you for that, by the way, Kristen. Thank you again. Next item is City Council. Item 18, consider of Ordinance 2024-12, increasing the salaries paid to council members and mayor after the expiration of their current terms. That was Vice Mayor Graver. Do you want to talk about that? Do you want to handle that?
Certainly. Just essentially reading through the background, on May 7th, 2024, council authorized the city attorney by a vote of 4-1 to draft an ordinance increasing compensation for the future council members and the mayor for consideration. During the April 16th, 2024 council meeting, I proposed increasing compensation for future council members from $8,400 to $10,000 and the mayor from $10,800 to $12,000. So the reason that I brought this up was it hasn't been changed since 2006, so it's been 18 years. We discussed it previously. It was 3 years ago. The council makeup was a little bit different. Councilmember Grimes wasn't on council then. Mayor, you weren't mayor. The four of us were here, right? And I was on the ordinance review committee. Councilmember Knapp, you were on the ordinance review committee as well. I don't know if this was a part of what your review was because you had gotten elected and had
don't think we got to it
resign. I was on it when we discussed it. So the numbers then that we recommended were $14,000 for council members and $18,000 for the mayor. So when it got to council, I happened to have been elected by then. When we discussed it, I believe it was at a work session, the numbers kind of seemed kind of high for everybody. We couldn't get to where any of us were really all that comfortable. And since we couldn't, from my recollection, and if I'm mistaken with my recollection, please let me know, it was, well, listen, if we can't figure it out, then we just can't figure it out. It's fine. We can table it. So at that time, I was in my first term. Councilmember Knapp was in his first term. He had won the special election, but in his first 3-year terms, first full term. Councilmember Gann, I believe you were still in your first term. Mayor, you were in your second term, but my guess is you were going to run for mayor, right? And Mayor Seidel at the time could run for re-election. So it was kind of weird because had we been able to vote on it, we were essentially saying, well, if we all win re-election, we all get raises, and that's kind of weird, right? What's happening now is I can't run for re-election. Councilmember Grimes, as much as I love you, I don't believe you're going to run for re-election. Councilmember Knapp can't. Councilmember Gans announced that she's going to run for mayor. While you haven't made a formal announcement, Mayor, I'm guessing you're going to run for re-election. And I'm not trying to steal anybody's thunder, but I'm understanding that's the case. So 4 out of the 5 of us will not see a pay increase. One of us may, unless there's a third-party candidate who comes in and runs for mayor, I don't know. But if it's just Councilmember Gannon versus Mayor Saraki for mayor, one of your salaries is going to go from what it is now to 0. The other one will get a small increase in pay. I think it's time to increase the pay. Now, I know it was mentioned, and Councilmember Gannon, forgive me, I'm paraphrasing, but it was, this isn't sort of a carrot to dangle in front of people. Here's some extra money. Well, if we're going to do that, I would think, well, let's raise it to, council members get 65 grand and the mayor gets 100. You know what I mean? Like, it's never going to happen. But it hasn't been increased in 18 years. So any child that was born in September, I believe it was in September '06, in September of 2006 or before, can vote in the next election, and no one's ever raised the money. And we're saying it's $1,600 and it's $1,200. I'm not asking for the world. I just think it's time. And especially with 80% of the council not receiving any sort of compensation, that's why I brought it up. That's why I wanted it for consideration. If there's so much pushback, if everyone's against it, okay, what's that mean? I'm not going to get a raise when I can't run again. Well, you know what it means if we pass it? I'm not going to get a raise because I can't run again. So I'm fine either way. I just wanted to make sure that it was as practical as I could make it. But that's why I brought it up, because the way that the council's shaped right now is unique. And if we wait another 6 years, then it'll be 24 years, 25 years by the time it gets changed again. And even if it happens, I understand it can be a kind of a taboo subject, but that's my point of view on the whole thing. That's why I brought it up initially, and that's where I'm at tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Great explanation. Great job.
Thank you.
Really, good job.
Thanks.
Anybody else have any other comments before we go any further?
Was a motion made?
No.
Not yet.
not yet.
I
okay.
introduced
Yes,
the
Tim did.
Got
agenda item.
it, got it.
But I will make a motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion. How about a second?
So the motion is to set it on the agenda for the first public hearing, correct?
Correct. And just so everyone knows, the public will, if this does pass, the public will have 2 opportunities to speak for or against it, the same as any other public hearing. It's just, this vote is not to pass it tonight, it's to get it to the public hearing stage, which will require 2 further meetings.
Okay, I have a motion and I have a second. Now any other discussion? Councilmember Knapp, go ahead.
I'll just make a few comments. Thank you, Vice Mayor, for introducing this topic yet again during the majority of our times up here. I understand completely the logic for it. I try to understand it from multiple lenses. The one I put on is kind of my business hat. It's like our boss is the public, and ultimately we have to answer to them. And so I know it's not a raise to ourselves, but it's a raise to the position for future council members. I'm in favor of getting this to the point of having the public's input because I want to hear that. I think that's important to hear what the people say, short of, we're not, I don't think, going to have a referendum on this. But I am eager to hear the public's input, and I will remain open-minded to, cast my vote either way in the future for the actual consideration of the increase. So, yeah, I know it's not for us. We're not going to see it except for who may attain the mayor's seat come March of next year. But it's again taboo, or just the funny feeling of giving it to this position when we're not in terrible shape. If you look at Safety Harbor or some of the other cities that are either larger or comparable in ratios may not pay as much. So, but again, I'd like to hear what the public has to say. Thank you, Mayor.
Right, thank you. Councilmember Gannon, do you have any comments?
I kind of previously expressed my thoughts on this. They haven't changed, although I am willing to be open-minded as to the public's input, not the grocery store, but the public, apostrophe S, plural, possessive. I'm curious as to the input of the public on this issue, but I'm still having a hard time with this issue, given everything from, the fact that we're about to have our budget work session next week, and we know what the increase in ad valorem dollars were to the city, and it wasn't great, or prospective increase to the ad valorem dollars, and the services that we continue to provide at the level, and while the cost for providing those services continues to increase. Although I will say, Vice Mayor, you have articulated the issue extraordinarily well. You have completely explained who benefits, almost no one, and why you brought it up. And I absolutely respect that, and I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilman Murray? No? Okay. So I just have a couple comments. First of all, Vice Mayor, I really appreciate what you brought this up, because when it was at the review committee, the ordinance review committee, I was hoping that something like this would come up. I've been doing a lot of thinking about this, and at the last council member, when you brought this up, I was kind of for it. But I did some thinking, and what has happened over time with especially my travel expenses, I have to pay for my own travel now because I don't have enough money in our budget. So I would rather see an increase in the travel budget so that I am able to continue my education and continue traveling, rather than seeing an increase, because as I said to the city manager today, unfortunately, my salary goes to my attorney fees for Mayor Seidel. That's where my money goes. So I would rather use an advantage for more travel expenses rather than an increase in pay. And I hope that makes sense. But that's where I'm headed. But I do kind of agree with Councilmember Knapp on wanting to hear what the public has to say about this, because I think that's important to hear their voice on if they feel that we deserve a raise. So as far as that goes, I would probably be for this, to take it to the ordinance, so that Tom can.
It'd be the next public hearing, to have the first public hearing. The ordinance has already been prepared and it's in the packet. So it would just be that, move forward.
The public hearing.
And just so I'm clear, Mayor, the point for me was always, because of the uniqueness of how council is shaped right now, it is best to get it to a public hearing. But public hearings are designed so we can learn from the public what they're thinking about things.
I agree.
So all of us walk in with an open mind. Please provide us with the information. I'm not saying that my mind is made up, or that me bringing it up, of course, I'm advocating for it, but it can be changed. But that's how we get to there. And like I said, maybe uncomfortable, maybe taboo is too strong of a word, but maybe an uncomfortable discussion to have, certainly. But again, when we discussed it the first time, it was a completely different situation than it is now, 3 years later. And so I think it's time, but getting it to that point at least allows us to hear feedback, and allows us, again, it'll be a month before we discuss it. So we'll have all of that time to also develop our own ideas and to bring that to the table when we have our own discussion. So I think it's worthwhile, and I appreciate everyone saying, like, at least let's get it to there.
I agree.
If it goes nowhere, it goes nowhere. It's fine.
No, I agree with you. I do, really do, Vice Mayor. Thank you.
Mayor, just one other
Yes.
point. I, not to get too sidetracked as far as conversation goes, but I think as far as it relates to our council, the money that would be for salary, I don't think we should worry too much about, confounding that or mixing that up with travel expenses. We just have to budget accordingly. If, I mean, me personally, and we've had the discussion, there is value in getting training and education. So I think that can be addressed too. They're separate issues. So
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
I think that can be addressed during our budget sessions. So
All right.
Yeah, one can happen without the other. I agree with that.
that's
All right,
Sorry.
so do we want to read the ordinance?
We
Got a
just need-
motion on the floor?
You have a second? All right, you want to, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed.
All right, passes 4-1. All right, next item on our agenda is item 19, and that is request to excuse absence of Councilmember Katie Gannon for the June 4th, 2024 council meeting. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion, any other discussion?
I missed you guys while I was stuck at the Hampton Inn in Lake County.
Yeah.
The trial went well,
We missed you.
but I really did miss you. The elevator was broken 2 out of the 5 days, so.
Did you get stuck?
Well, not in the elevator,
Oh.
but I got stuck carrying my trial boxes up and down 3 flights of stairs, which
Three
was pretty
flights.
much the same thing.
There you
but-
go.
But no, it
All
went,
right.
it went well. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 20 is request the excuse of absence of Mayor Dan Saraki for the May 21st, 2024 council meeting. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I had a wonderful time in DC learning about flooding. All right, item 21, appoint the voting delegate for the Florida League of Cities Annual Conference being held on August 15th through the 17th, 2024.
Who wants to get up at 8 a.m.?
Do you go to the Suncoast League of Cities breakfast? You go to that, right?
I go to the breakfast.
Yeah, you're there, so.
And I've been to the breakfast, I think, every time that I've gone.
Okay, so do you would like to do that again? Would you like to put your name in the hat?
I'd be happy to throw my name in the hat.
All right.
Can we put it in a hat? I'd actually like to see
Put
that.
it in a hat and
Who's
then
got a
just leave
hat?
it there?
There's a hat
There's
out.
2 names in there.
There's a hat right there.
Artie's got a hat.
You guys want to put your
The
actual...
placard off and see if it fits.
All right, who's got a hat?
2 hats in a room. That's a really good
No,
one.
that's a fantastic.
Perfect hat.
Put our both names in and see who gets picked.
The mayor would do such a wonderful job at 8 in the morning,
Yes.
representing.
No, 7.
Oh, well, I mean, even better.
But that's not the vote, when the voting
The
delegate
voting
meeting
is
is.
at 8, but the breakfast is at 7.
If at 9, you get a break.
Oh, man.
If you don't want it,
You gonna take it now?
Gonna take it?
I'll do it.
No, I like going. It's actually very interesting going to
Which one
that
of you,
meeting.
we need to make a motion. Which one of you wants to? Okay.
Please take.
Keep the streak alive.
Make a motion to appoint Councilmember Knapp for our voting delegate at the Florida League of Cities Annual Conference held August 15th to the 17th, 2024.
Second that motion?
All right. Any other discussion?
You better tell us what you're actually gonna vote on. You're gonna tell us, right?
It will be usually it's the slate of the new directors. That's the main thing.
Look, the resolutions and stuff.
The supporting resolutions.
So, Andrew, tell them exactly what happens.
I did it one
Yeah,
year.
it's just cards.
Yeah.
You just hand them in.
Well, the year I did it, I actually brought the resolutions to council to make sure that we all, as a city council, supported each of the resolutions, not saying that you haven't done it right in the past couple of years, I'm just saying.
Oh, wow. Wow.
That's what I did.
Wake up at 7 and you did it wrong. Okay.
Before the
I-
council,
I'm
before we
just-
vote on them.
I'm
On
just
behalf of everyone.
pointing out that you are acting as representative of the city, as is the mayor, while you're down there,
So,
so.
Councilmember Knapp, you've got some homework.
I do.
To report after
The
this
resolutions are
conference.
ready yet.
Potentially, shall we take a vote?
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Councilmember Knapp, congratulations.
Congratulations, Andrew.
5 years?
All right, there you go. All right, council comments. First is Vice Mayor Steve Graber.
Mayor, I got to attend, and so did you, and so did Councilmember Gannon. The Upper Tampa Bay Chamber Awards and Installation Dinner, and our very own Councilmember Grimes won the Oldsmar Cup. It was accepted by proxy, because you weren't able to attend, but
Your
congratulations.
speech was great.
Your speech was fantastic, yes.
You can't remember what he said.
But it was a wonderful time. It was at a different location. But Lee Spann was there, and she did a wonderful job. She said how much fun she was having, because we're all just laughing. And it's just always a great event. Congratulations, sincerely.
I think the best part is how
it's well
he
deserved.
imitated your voice.
Yeah,
He
definitely.
did not.
He did.
He did try.
did not.
No, he did try.
Tried.
Yeah, he tried. But
Very thought.
the work session next week, such an important work session. For those of you who don't know, we're talking about the budget next week, so it is important to get there if you can. you can watch it on YouTube, but really you can see the discussion that all of us have as we're going through the process, see why we're making the decisions that we're making. And so I encourage everyone to show up. We're not going to meet until July 16th, so happy 4th of July to everybody. I, last year, took my daughter to Washington, D.C. and to New York City, just me and her. My son, of course, was aggravated about that, so now all four of us are going to do the exact same trip, but this time we're going to what's something called the Friends Experience, where they recreated the set of Friends. And so we get to sit in Joey and Chandler's chairs, and we get to go to Cecil Perk, and we get to do all that stuff. We're taking a carriage ride, and we're going to see The Lion King on Broadway. So it is a nice trip, and then we're staying in D.C. with my sister for a couple of days, get to see fireworks over that way. So looking forward to that. Wish everyone, again, a happy 4th of July. That's all I had, Mayor. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilmember Gannon.
Thank you, Mayor. As was mentioned, I think at the meeting last week, the Suncoast League of Cities meeting is this Friday in Temple Terrace. So I will be there as our new delegate. The Forward Pinellas School Transportation Safety Committee meeting was scheduled to take place in June, but it was rescheduled due to an unforeseen conflict. I actually don't know what the conflict is, but Forward Pinellas let us know that that meeting was canceled sort of at the last minute, and I will update you all when it is rescheduled so that we can talk about our quarterly items and the update there. And I wanted to read something in light of the fact that it is coming up on the 4th of July and we will miss each other. I was provided something pretty cool, which was the Oldsmar Declaration of Independence for Adolescent Mental Health by our friends at Operation Jack's Village.
Nice.
Now, this is really cool. They wrote this. I'm reading what they wrote. I had no input on this. This was just provided to me as a courtesy. In the spirit of our nation's founding documents, we, the youth of Oldsmar, on this approach to the 4th of July, do hereby affirm our commitment to the principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, as enshrined in the United States Declaration of Independence. Whereas the original Declaration emphasized these unalienable rights endowed by our Creator, we recognize that the interpretation of these rights must evolve with our generation. Whereas happiness is not solely derived from material wealth, but encompasses mental and emotional well-being, meaningful relationships, purposeful engagement, and personal growth. And whereas the pursuit of happiness is a dynamic journey of self-discovery, resilience building, goal setting, and quality of life enhancement. And whereas we declare the following truths to be self-evident. Life, survive. Every adolescent has the inherent right to exist and be free from physical, mental, and emotional harm. Liberty, thrive. Every adolescent shall have the freedom to make informed choices, to live a life unburdened by undue restrictions, and to navigate the path to adulthood with autonomy. The pursuit of happiness, soar. Every adolescent shall have the opportunity to seek personal fulfillment, to engage in activities that promote well-being, and to strive for a future that aligns with their aspirations. We pledge to prioritize our mental health as a cornerstone of achieving happiness. We call upon our community to support us in creating educational environments that nurture independence, foster good decision-making, and celebrate the journey toward happiness. As we commemorate Independence Day, let us also embrace the ongoing quest for a life filled with joy, purpose, and well-being. Let this declaration serve as a testament to our commitment to the mental health of all adolescents in Oldsmar and beyond. Adopted this 14th day of June 2024 by the youth of Oldsmar, Florida.
Wow.
Very nice. Very nice.
The applause is for them. I was just struck by the, well, anything that's well articulated I can appreciate, as you guys know, but what a conquering aspirational message of empowerment that they wrote for themselves and have declared to live by. I just felt like now that's an Independence Day I can get behind for our youth. That was just absolutely fabulous. So in any event, here's to them and a wonderful Independence Day, and to all of you as well. And I'll see you guys next week at the work session.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Knapp.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of items. Just to reiterate what was mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, we've got the forum next week. If, for those residents out there that don't have the ability, it's this week, excuse me. I'm thinking of something else next week, but anyways, I lost my train of thought. But, yeah, in the absence of meeting the candidates in person, if they come to your door or if you meet them out at events, this is the absolute best way to learn about their thoughts and positions on what the city's facing. I can't tell you how many times that when I was campaigning, how many people appreciated knowing that we do this event and the type of knowledge that they can gain about the people that are wanting to get up here and serve. So I highly recommend that everybody that is interested, please show up if you can in person. If not, watch online. I'm sure that there'll be plenty of reposting or the ability to find it out later. So please come and participate in that because it's an important process. I will not be able to attend. I'm looking forward to watching it myself. But I will be actually at a different event that evening for BAMA, which is the Bay Area Manufacturers Association. As part of the group representing Microlumen, we've been nominated for Manufacturer of the Year for our area. So we are looking forward to hopefully bringing home the victory. So great to have a fantastic manufacturer here. I got to spend last week not in y'all's company as when you were at the event for the chamber. I was on vacation up in Long Island with my wife and her family. We had a fantastic time up there and a nice break from our weather down here. We were definitely antsy because it seems like every time we've taken a vacation during hurricane season is when one typically is starting to barrel down the pipeline towards Florida. So we lucked out this time in terms of travel related to the storm season, but please be prepared, do what you can. Again,
By the way, Museum of Ice Cream.
it was
Yeah, I checked
spectacular.
that out today, too.
It was fun. Yeah, definitely a big thumbs up. Actually, my sister-in-law and her fiance, they actually made some of the items in that place in the museum. They 3D printed things and did some of the art installations there. So it was really cool to see some of the work that they do up in New York City, and the kids love it. It's a highly recommend. I got to try a cream cheese flavored bagel sandwich. So it's cream cheese flavored ice cream with everything seasoning over the cream cheese ice cream inside a bagel. Wow. It was spectacular. I want more. Yeah. So anyways, I regret missing the awards dinner, but it was a wonderful vacation up there. And then just to close out, we're about to have a 2-year-old in the Knapp household as of this Friday. So the terribleness has already come.
Just wait for 3. 2's nothing.
Well, I think he's early and she went late for the terribleness. But we are looking forward to so many more fun years ahead of us. So happy birthday, early birthday to Henry, and a happy even earlier birthday to Nicole, who is a 4th of July baby. So
That's right.
we will get fireworks as we do every year for her birthday. So looking forward to that.
How generous.
Yes. Her and America's birthday.
Right.
So that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember?
I mean, all my fellow council members and vice mayors have covered everything this evening. There's not much more I can add.
All right. Wonderful. I just have a couple things. I don't want to take a lot of time, but I wanted to mention the chamber dinner. I really had a great time, especially Katie, with you and Sean. I mean, it was yeah, it was a great night, and
Great winners,
Hey, I was
Habitat
there
for
too.
Humanity.
and Steve. I mean, I had my Paul.
I guess it wasn't as great of a time. apparently.
One of the best chamber dinners that I
Neither
can
one of us was
remember from
there.
a long time.
Everybody dressed very on theme. It was black and white, and so everybody
Yeah.
was very formal in black and white suits
Yeah,
and
it was
beautiful dresses.
It was really a good time. I mean, our conversation, let's put it that way, was very interesting, and I really had a great night, and I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that this evening. Thank you very much for a great night. And other than that, all I have is happy 4th of July, and everyone have fun, and don't blow off your fingers with any firecrackers.
Okay, yeah, don't do that.
All right, thank you. Item 23, approve the tentative agenda for July 16th, 2024, and I believe that our city manager Felicia Donnelly would like to add something.
Yes, Mayor, I would like to add a special meeting on August the 17th, 2024 at 9 a.m. to review and consider proposals for the City Hall site. Just a moment for a backstory to that is that yesterday we received 2 responses for the RFP for the redevelopment for the City Hall site. And as such, we're going to host a public open house on July 17th, 2024 at 4 p.m., which we will be advertising. And then according to Schedule B in the RFP, August 17th is the date for that there should be a special meeting of the City Council.
Can I just say that, isn't that the last day of the FLC conference?
Yes.
Ooh, good point. Is it?
Hang on.
I don't have my calendar.
August 15th through the
Seven days.
17th, that is the Saturday of the FLC conference.
But we don't have to be there, correct?
At the special meeting that
Special
we
meeting,
set in
yeah.
the RFP, yes.
It would be preferred if you were there.
You want to,
Well, I'm leaving Saturday morning. I'm driving home. How are you, when are you leaving?
I'll come back early, because I don't want to miss that.
yeah, it's,
There's no other date, and that's what we kind of set out ahead of time then.
that's when
Okay.
we have to hear the proposals.
I'll be out Friday
You're the
night or
voting
early
delegate.
Saturday morning. Can vote by proxy.
Okay.
Can give your proxy your vote.
There's no other day we can do it, I guess is my question.
The date was advertised in the RFP.
Advertised.
It's been advertised, yeah, so it has to be that
I
day.
totally didn't.
And a time?
I totally forgot about that.
Good
I'll leave early. I'll be fine. I can leave Friday.
17, 9 a.m.
The time recommended would be 9 a.m. We received 2 proposals, so that would give time for the interview. The developers will have formal interview or formal presentations and time for the council to interview, time for public open forum, and then there's no end time. But I propose 9 a.m. as a start time.
Okay. And it's a Saturday, right?
It's a Saturday.
Do we need to kind of put a duration on it, like 9 to 10, or doesn't matter?
You're in control of it, so.
Should I plan for 3 hours?
I think we
Yes.
should.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we should.
I'm serious, I need
Yes.
to know
Yeah, I
for
think we should plan.
childcare and for everything, people
Schedule.
people need to know how long it might last so they don't miss anything. Okay, so like 9 to 11 then?
No, I would suggest blocking out even longer time.
Oh, 9 to noon, okay.
Or even longer, and the reason is, when the developers will want to give, you have to have public comment, right, at any
Okay.
sort of special meeting, so we don't know how long that will go.
Okay.
And then the developers are going to give formal presentations, so allowing them ample time for
And
such a
equal.
large project. And then also, you all are going to want to Q&A the
Okay.
developers, and then you're gonna, score them.
Okay.
So I feel like a 9 a.m. start, but I
Gives-
feel like a large amount of time, we may, break for lunch. It
Okay.
really depends
On what?
on the
yeah.
day, so I would anticipate it could be a longer day.
Okay,
Right, because at that point, there will have already been an open house where the public has been able to see what was submitted,
Correct?
which can then generate whatever buzz around one or both of those plans for or against, which can then draw people to that meeting on the 17th. That could have potentially an extended period of public comment on the front end before we even get to the meat of the meeting.
That is correct.
okay,
Yeah.
understood.
Yeah, so it could be long.
Yeah, those meetings are never short. And
Okay.
I would think 3 hours would be short. I'm just from parent
would
to
be
Yeah,
from
no,
parent to parent,
that's what
yeah.
I'm trying to make sure that we give the public an idea of, well, and myself, but also give the public an idea of how,
Yeah, for
what's
sure.
gonna happen and who's gonna be there and
Sure.
And how many kids are getting dropped off for Kelly to take care of? That's fine, just let me know.
Because you'll also be going through the scoring process, so how long that takes too,
Like we
yeah.
did last
We're
time,
not-
It'll be a
the
long
scoring.
time.
We're not
Yeah.
putting any limits on their presentation then either, it's kind of,
Equal, but
I mean,
We will set some sort of parameters before.
Some structure to
but
that.
We won't allow, and I would suggest enough time for them to go full presentations, because,
yeah,
you know, this is.
That's their
pretty-
chance.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
so
Anybody else want to add anything else to the agenda? We're going to add that for sure. That's got to be added.
what's that?
Lots
It
of
has
stuff.
to be added.
Does
And
need
it-
to be added.
Yeah. So anybody else want to add anything else? All right, then I need a motion to approve.
motion to approve the tentative agenda as amended to include the scheduling of a meeting on August 17th, 2024, to begin at 9 a.m. to discuss the proposals.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all. Great meeting.
Got it.
Everyone have a great evening. Thanks for hanging out with us. Meeting adjourned.
I feel like something else is on August